What's this one stray hair? I tried to channel like Legolas today. I don't know, I was feeling like Lord of the Rings elfy. I feel like I did it. Hey everyone, it's Alison. Welcome to the video. It's Thursday, so I'm going to be talking about video games, and if you watched my last video game video, then you know that the game of the month, I guess I'll do like a month for each. So the game of the month is Dragon Age Origins. Today I'm going to be talking about the different classes that you can play as and which ones are my favorite. And while I do that, you'll remember last video I was working on the drawing of like the very graceful woman, kind of like serene on a dark background. I actually finished that in between videos because I was enjoying working on it so much. So there she is, she's finished. That means that I'll be working on a new drawing, and oh, my hair. I decided to make it a little bigger this time. Okay, we're gonna try this side. We're gonna see how this looks. I mean, I look good, but the drawing hasn't started yet. That's the important part. Classes in Dragon Age. You can play as a warrior. I'm going really slow. You can play as a warrior, a rogue, or a mage, and I'm gonna go through one at a time. Oh, and in case you guys start wondering what I'm drawing, it's gonna be a bunch of eyes. So warrior, so this one's definitely like, I feel like the most user-friendly and the easiest to play as, especially if you're like playing the game for the first time. I think this is the one you want to go with. When I played Origins for the first time, I played as a warrior. You start out with more strength than a rogue, for sure. Definitely more strength than a mage. You would think mage would be easier at first because you've got like ranged attacks and stuff. It's like they're really weak, whereas when you're a warrior, you've got that strength, so you can, and constitution. I forgot about constitution. So you're able to survive fights with enemies a lot easier. So warrior makes those like first levels a lot less painful. It's also really fun. Like you get to, if you do, so you can either do, I feel like I'm rambling so much. Like people who haven't played this game are gonna be like, why are you talking about this? This is so boring. You can either play with a weapon and shield, like a sword and shield, or you can do two-handed weapon. So sword and shield, I feel like if you do warrior, do sword and shield because it's way more fun. You get to smash people with a shield, which is like very satisfying. And there aren't really any other party members, like people that can join your group besides Alistair, that are weapon and shield. So you get two other people. There's two other warriors in the group besides Alistair, and they're both two-handed weapons. And so like, why would you want to also be a two? That's the ratio is off. You should have a weapon and shield. You can move faster than if you have a two-handed weapon, and like I said, you can smash someone with a shield. You find so many cool swords and you find so many cool shields. It's like, who am I gonna give these to? I can't give them all to Alistair. I don't want to sell all of them. You would make a lot of money if you did. But some of them are just too cool to sell. You can't really give them to the rogues in your group until you like level them up a lot. Like it's so many shields. I don't know, they have cool stuff on them. It's a lot of fun. I like it. I feel like after you get like halfway through the story in the game, it feels like your strength, like the advantages that make being a warrior fun, it kind of tapers off. Like you get as strong as you're really gonna get. The moves just aren't that cool. You level up a lot of the cool moves pretty early, I think. There's only so many shield smash moves, and there's only so many like sword moves. I talk about, like, you know, I'm an expert with swords. That's the kind of downside to what, or the trade-off, I guess, to warrior, is that after the first half of the game, you're not really getting like super cool fighting abilities anymore. I did one eye while I did that. See? Wow. So pretty. Okay, so I'll go a little more into two-handed. The reason I really don't like playing two-handed is like, I don't have the patience for how slow you move. You're using a two-handed sword, so they're heavy, and the game, you know, I guess it tries to stay realistic in that sense. You can't really get like really good with it and do the really cool moves until later in the game, because you have to level up your strength and your willpower so much. But if you stick with it, by the time you get to the end of the game, so like sword and shield, I said, kind of tapers off halfway through, like the two-handed weapons get really fun in the second half of the game, because that's when you are starting to be leveled up enough to really take advantage of the different moves that you can do and actually do more than one without getting too tired. Two-handed like sucks butt at the beginning of the game, and I just, thinking about doing some of those early levels, like having to wait so long in your fights to be able to use an ability again, it's not that fun. But if you have the patience for it, and also like if you level up really tactically, you can probably get more out of it sooner. But like I said, you get two other party members who are two-handed. You want to keep a pretty balanced group, but if for some reason you brought both of them with you or something, like it's just the three of you trying to fight, and you're moving basically in slow motion because you've all got these gigantic, super heavy weapons, and none of you can move them but like once every like 5 seconds or whatever. It's just hard to feel really satisfied. When I played on like the hardest level, Nightmare, it took me forever to find like a really good two-handed sword that had like perks and abilities that I felt like made it fun to use. There's just way more cool one-handed weapons than there are two-handed weapons. Like there's so many, there's like a lot of lore with the weapons, and there's just so many more cool one-handed than two-handed. Two eyes in, two eyes down. Okay, so I wouldn't have said this when I started playing the game, but Rogue, I think Rogue is the best class that you can be for a few reasons. So you can open things, like you can open locks as a rogue, and so there's things that you just can't get in the game ever if you're not a rogue. Like at the very beginning of the game, no matter what origin you pick, there's gonna be some locked door or some locked chest, and it sparkles, and if you're not a rogue, you can't open it, and you're just sitting there being like tantalized by this mystery thing. What could be in there? There could be money, there could be a new shirt, there could be like a cool sword, there could be a note, there could be a juicy love letter, like, and there's actually a mission where you're supposed to find like all these love letters, and you have to be a rogue to do it. Like, you also just, you get really cool abilities. In addition to being able to use really cool daggers, you can also still use those cool swords that I was talking about for the warrior, because you can have two weapons, like dagger and sword, two daggers. You can wear some cool armor. Oh, I forgot to mention that for warriors, that there's so much cool armor that you have to have like pretty high strength to wear. So if you're a warrior, boom, there you go. You can wear all those cool outfits. Rogues, you can't wear all the cool outfits unless you decide to be like a disproportionately strong rogue, which you're not going to be at the beginning of the game. But the cool thing about rogue is if you play really late and if you get like the downloadable contents and stuff, like you can be really strong and just wear whatever you want anyway. So another point for rogues. You can also like play dead. You can just be really crafty as a rogue. The trade-off with rogue is that you start really weak compared to like a warrior. So some of the early missions where you're fighting like your first really strong enemies, you're kind of like helpless. I remember playing rogue for the first time, and I was doing like the level in the Fade where you're in like dreamland and no one is with you, and you only have like your dumb little weapons that you start out with. I died so many times. The other weapon options that rogues have are bow and arrow. I don't really like that one. You get, I think, two other rogues you get in your party. I'm kind of skipping all over the place. And one of them, Liliana, she starts with a bow and arrow, and I tried to play her that way. Like I tried to keep her with a bow and arrow, and I just thought it was so boring. And like even when I leveled it up really well and found like a really cool bow, I just didn't think it was that exciting. I guess I'm just more of like a dagger girl. This eye has lots of eyelashes, like tons. Okay, starting my 4th eyeball. The last class choice that you have, like I said, is Mage. Mage might be the most versatile one. It's also the one I've played the least. Maybe it's because like mages in the game, I mentioned this in my last Dragon Age video, they're discriminated against, and like maybe being like, you know, being a black woman, it's like I kind of have a taste of that in real life, and I kind of want to escape those biases when I'm in a video game. You know, I just came here to fight dragons. I didn't come here to remember that oppression based on the way you were born as a thing. So you're pretty limited at the beginning as well. Like you have a stick, I think, or something, and you shoot out of it, but you don't really have like a lot of cool abilities to start with. Like with warrior and with rogue, like you have weapons, so you at least have one cool thing you can do. But with the mage, I think the first like real ability you have is like, oh, I forget what it's called, but you're just shooting like a ball of energy, and it doesn't do anything cool. It's just like, pff. But that being said, like even though you don't start out with cool stuff, you can level up some really cool stuff. So I think my favorite ability that I always do was Walking Bomb, because it's like you can shoot the enemy with something and it does continual damage and then it blows them up. Like you can't beat that. It only blows them up if it gets their health down like a certain amount. This is so like, it's not, it's like funny because it's a game, but imagine if that was real, that'd be disgusting. But since it's a game, it's like, yeah, the person blows up. It's just such a good move. But on Nightmare, it sucks because it does friendly fire. And so I was playing Nightmare and I didn't think about that, and I accidentally like killed my whole team. There's so many really fun like magic moves that you can do. And I think, you know, in a lot of video games, the warrior and rogue class are probably going to be pretty similar, but a lot of the uniqueness in a game will come into play in like the magic abilities, because that's where they can get more creative. So as far as like class composition, when like going out into the world, you know, into the video game world, I always try to do 2 warriors, a mage, and a rogue, because I feel like that's well-rounded and it covers all your needs. And as far as like the most balanced, or maybe like the strongest composition, I would say a healer mage, a battle mage, like a weapon and shield warrior, and like a rogue. I like my first one better because I find 2 mages not as much fun to play. And in Origins, like the first Dragon Age, you can just drink like infinite health potions, poultices, whatever they're called. So you don't need a healer in that game. It's just probably smarter. Alright, I just want to finish this one eye. This one's the worst. So yeah, that's what I think of the different class options that you have in Dragon Age Origins. I'd love to know what you think. Like, what's your favorite class to play as? Do you disagree? Do you think bow and arrows are actually really fun? Are there things that I left out that you think I should have mentioned about each class? Like, tell me. I'd love to know. But thank you so much for watching. Here's my eyes. So I'm gonna cover the page in these, but I think they look pretty good so far. And I'm also doing my non-video game, more art-focused drawing videos on Tuesdays, so definitely check those out as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I think I said thank you so much for watching like 5 or 6 times. But yeah, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you guys later.